External traffic is increasingly becoming more important for your Amazon sales. An angle that we haven't thought of or talked about before at My Amazon Guy is to do this through earned media, not your Google, not your Facebook pay-per-click external traffic, but actually going out, buying domains, and building content, SEO style, for earned media traffic going into Amazon. Today, we talked to an expert. His name's Michael Jackness, and he's part of the Ecom crew. They have a podcast with over 350 videos. Feel free to check them out as well after listening to this. My name is Stephen Pope, and I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. This is going to be a treat on all things external traffic. This is the My Amazon Guy podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Pope, founder of the agency My Amazon Guy. Tune in each week to learn how to grow your Amazon sales. I'm now joined by Michael. Thanks for coming on the My Amazon Guy podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Should be a blast.
Well, very good. This is a topic that is very difficult because driving traffic to Amazon is a no-brainer, of course.
Right.
But there's like a series of complications, everything from tracking and spend management and all that good stuff. So excited to have you here today to be an expert and talk to us about that. Before we go into external traffic, help set us up with the audience. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, I think that depends on what year you asked me that. The last 5 to 7 years or so, I've been in e-commerce. Before that, I was in affiliate marketing. Left my job back in like 2004. So I've been out on my own doing various entrepreneurial things for quite a bit, but really got taken by the e-commerce bug back in about 2013 or so. We owned treadmill.com, developed that, ended up selling it. And over the years, we've started several different brands. We have icewraps.com, wildbaby.com. We own tactical.com. And last year we sold a brand called Color It, which was coloring books for adults. And we also, talk about all this stuff at ecomcrew as well. So doing a few things here and there.
Those are some powerful domain names. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've been a domain guy for a decade. It's been one of these things where I kind of got it early, and we still own a bunch of these types of domains. And it's funny how those two things collided, because when I bought treadmill.com, I never thought that I would be selling fitness equipment. That was not what my plan was. But one day I remember being out on this walk, and I just was reflecting on myself and life. And I was realizing that the type of affiliate marketing that I was doing wasn't really adding a lot of value to the world. I kind of felt like a bottom feeder, like a lot of affiliate marketing is, and just kind of had a come to Jesus moment with it kind of thing. And decided that I'd rather be adding more value, and I'd rather be closer to the customer. And so we decided to get into e-commerce, and that's how it happened. And definitely been enjoying it way more than the affiliate marketing world.
So when I used to hire affiliates, right? So I've been on the corporate side too, just kind of like you, and I would hire into affiliate networks of the world. And I always wanted the content generation affiliates. I never wanted those coupon. And that's when you said bottom dwelling, I was thinking like
right.
Fake coupon affiliate sites out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, so glad you made the transformation.
Yeah.
The world is
just real quick. We never did the coupon thing. Like that's even like below what we were doing. We were content marketers and still are. And we'll be talking about that in this external traffic portion here. But let's face it, a lot of the content that people put out, like they're recommending whatever item pays them more, right? Or they're not going through a whole lot of legwork. They just go on Amazon and type in best treadmill, and the top 5 things that show up are the ones that they write about. And so I wanted to get away from things like that. I will admit that we were more in that camp, and you gotta make a living, right? At some point in your life when you're hustling, you gotta make a living, and it's easier to speak from the mountaintop once you're there. And so that conversation with myself happened once I was in a decent financial position.
It makes perfect sense. And I think that affiliate networks have always been an important component to getting some links in for SEO and a lot of other valuable things. All right, so you made that transformation, and now what are you up to today?
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because I think a lot of this is starting to merge back together. It's for some reason, like when I got out of that whole SEO affiliate marketing kind of game, I left it behind for e-commerce and didn't really, for whatever reason, really focus on the content and getting that traffic anymore. Because there was other ways to get it. Now you could just throw stuff up on Amazon, and back in 2015, you could throw up a bucket of poop on Amazon and sell it. I mean, it was,
You can find unicorn meat. Let's be honest.
right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like
Whatever you
literally.
want to sell, you could, we could have got all of our hair back or something. It would have been great. I got the same,
Mine is
got
going
going on. Yeah.
really fast
So
the last couple of years.
it's brutal. So, all those things were possible back in 2015. But now, things are a lot different. And a couple of years ago, I started to kind of really figure this out. And so that's what tactical.com is all about. And a lot of what we'll talk about today, but Tactical is a content site, and we're working very hard on growing organic traffic and then sending a portion of that off to Amazon, especially for things that we sell. And so we can now kind of be our own affiliates, if you will. And there's other things we'll kind of get into as well.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes then. So when we talk about external traffic, there's a variety of things that you can do. Can you walk us through those and which ones you want to, spread some information about?
Sure. I mean, I think let's start with the things that are the buzz today. I think the big buzz stuff is search, find, buy. Like sending basically black hat traffic to Amazon. What this means is you're getting people to go to Amazon, type in ice packs or whatever it might be that we sell. Go down to page 3, find this product, and go, and then I'll give you a 100% refund. And the thing is, it works. It works really well. But I feel like you're playing musical chairs or hot potato or something. It's one of these things that's binary. It works until it doesn't. And if you're a Chinese seller that has access to dozens of accounts, you probably don't really care. As a US seller who knows it would be very difficult to get another account and get unbanned, I try not to play these games. I think it's just too high of a risk. It's like playing Russian roulette. And when you have
it's always the Chinese, it's never the Russians, guys.
Well, I mean, Russians obviously too. A lot of foreigners. I mean, I'm not trying to pick primarily Chinese, but they are like 60% of Amazon sellers now, right? So, yeah. But yes, the dirty Russians too.
Take the jungle scouts of the world. I mean, they're over in China right now, advertising to the Chinese, like
100%,
all over there.
Yeah.
We did a podcast a couple weeks ago with an inspections company, and he like just lambasted the amount of fraud, bribery, and stuff going over there. So like they're there to eat and kill.
100%.
So on the US side though, I have to agree with you. You're better off protecting your assets and doing things that are going to work long term. In fact, where I've taken the direction of my agency is we focused internally within Seller Central because of these moving targets. And so we haven't done a lot of search, find, buy. We haven't done a lot of these other tactics because they're very challenging to keep up with. And at any point in time, Amazon's going to ban whatever. All right. So you've set up the inherency here that like, hey, there's some hot buzz on search, find, buy, but maybe you shouldn't do that. What else?
Yeah. And I'll answer that. And I also want to build on one of the things you just said, which I think is important. You're like, it's very hard to keep up with, right? And so this is another thing that we try not to do in our businesses. I was doing that when I was younger, which is always like, let's go find the new hot buzz thing that works right now. And as I've gotten older, now I'm trying to build businesses that I don't have to worry about that stuff. I'm looking to build long-term, solid businesses where it isn't the thing of the day or the thing that works today, but the thing that just works. And so that kind of brings to your question, which we've developed content sites now that are ranking for organic keywords and also doing that in the what's going to work long-term methodology of let's write like immensely good content and not play games. We're not trying to write 300-word thin content pieces and get a bunch of dirty backlinks and try to rush to the top of the results and like crash and burn one site to the next. I mean, we own arguably a 6-figure domain name in tactical.com. I don't want to wreck that and crash and burn. I want to create a media giant or a player in this niche and become an authority site. And so that's what we're working towards.
I think that's very respectful. The long-term investment, and I mean, like it's easy to say that's going to pay off because it's working now, is it not?
It is. And I think, it also diversifies your business. And I think the thing that I enjoy about this more than anything is that I control the dial. And right now I'm choosing to dial the traffic over to Amazon. But at such a point in time where I choose to send it to Walmart or Target or my own store or whatever it might be, I can do that. And I think that that's going to be lucrative in the future, because I do think that all good things come to an end, and I can kind of see the honeypot of Amazon maybe having some stingers in it when you go to reach your hand in the bowl at some point. It's already happening. It's been happening, and so at some point, I think that we're gonna be happy that we can go, oh crap, like Amazon's not working as well anymore. Let's send it over to whatever.
I still have like been hoping that Walmart would finally claw away at Amazon.
Yeah, me
And
too.
it's really been the most disappointing platform of the year with that in mind, right? And obviously it's still growing, and yeah, you need to be on Walmart, right? Like, don't get me wrong, but it should be like, I don't know, 15 or 20 times bigger than it is currently. Something going on over there they haven't figured out.
I didn't have rooting for Walmart to do well on my bingo card
No,
previously,
I
but
know, I
I
know.
I've added that on there now because I think that Amazon, you think about how Walmart has had a bad reputation, and I think that they deserve it. I think that Amazon is more evil than Walmart has ever been, and continuing to get worse. So
It's
take that
not
for what
every
it is.
day you get to hear somebody say that out loud, but it's the truth, right? So
It
like,
is the truth. I
we
mean,
really ought to talk about this. So most fascinating stat of the month I read, 81% of households in the United States are now Prime members. That's
yeah,
up from 50% back in March of this year. So that's a
yeah.
gigantic increase,
I
right?
wonder
So
what
like,
happened to drive those signups like that. I don't know. Pandemic
yeah,
maybe, or
I'm clueless on that one. There
yeah,
wasn't, maybe there was like a decade of ecom growth in 8 week
yeah.
span. I don't know, maybe, but
Pretty
um,
crazy.
and so if Amazon did that through that black swan event called COVID, right? Um, what's gonna stop them from taking that throne and saying, hey, take it or leave it, right? Like, obviously they're customer centric today, but maybe they won't be next year or the year after that. I mean, Google even had do no evil in its motto. They took that out a couple years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is the evil side of capitalism, probably a topic for another podcast. And it's weird feeling this way because I am like the ultimate capitalist. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur and want to dictate all these things, but the reality is that at some point, like good turns to evil, and these really large companies are in that camp, and our government, and not to get into political stuff, has allowed this to kind of happen, where in other parts of the
Yeah.
world they put the brakes on it at some point. The UK, the EU, India have all like slapped Amazon for the same things that they do in the United States. They will not be slapped in the US for doing it here.
And to be honest, I agree with your sentiment, but I disagree with the phrasing. I don't think it's anti-capitalistic to say what you're saying. I think that the big government and big business are in bed together, and they've created this environment, right? So like, I don't think capitalism caused it. I think it was corruption that caused it.
Which is money in politics, and
Yeah.
Citizens United like was the last straw of that, and now it's like, how do you claw back from here? I think it's very difficult, right?
Big reset. Apparently, something would have to reset it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to external traffic. Though I honestly probably would enjoy that podcast on that
Let's
topic.
do that.
Even
Let's
more.
do a part 2 someday, and we'll talk about that because I love this topic as well.
Bring me on the Ecom Crew podcast. We'll
Absolutely, it's a date. We'll schedule that right after this, and we'll come do that.
Sounds good. All right, so because I think we both have strong opinions on that. So let's go back to external traffic. So when we first talked about creating this podcast today, and you started talking about external traffic, my brain initially went to Facebook, Google, and you're hitting me with the SEO traffic or affiliate traffic light. I'm not sure what would be the best way to phrase that in your opinion, by the way.
I mean, I think SEO traffic, organic traffic. I say free traffic, perpetual free traffic, but it's not free. Like, let's be realistic. It costs money to develop these things.
Earned media.
Earned media. That's a
external,
great one. I love that. And don't get me wrong, like Facebook and other things are still a part of our plan and strategy. We still, but it's not to send it directly to Amazon. Like, we're sending it directly to our site to get people on lead magnets and do free plus shipping offers. We really leverage email marketing, right? And that's something that we learned when we were doing Color It. Email marketing was 52% of our revenue on colorit.com. I mean, we basically sent out an email every day. We had tons of like automated flows and just really worked on building that list. And the way that we did that was by sending out about 85 to 90% value add content. So it was stuff that people wanted to read, not we have a sale or a new product or like all about me. It was all about the people on our list. And we will do that and have been doing that with tactical.com as well. And so the way that we will do that is get people on our list through Facebook ads for free plus shipping offers and lead magnets. And then over time, hit them with the content that's on tactical.com, and sprinkled in there will be the new product that we're launching that month. And like, here's a coupon and go buy this thing at a discount for being a valued subscriber. And so that it is a part of the strategy for sure.
Just curious, how many email subscribers do you have right now?
I think we're right about 10,000, which isn't anything to write home about, but realize that tactical.com is a fairly new project for us.
Niche, so, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a big niche, but I mean, I think that, our goal was like this time next year to be at 50 or 100,000, because our traffic has been growing at about 10x per year right now, which is, so hopefully our list will grow along with it.
So I think the journey that you're on right now is extremely valuable to talk about, right? So like if I'm let's say I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller today, and I'm like, okay, what else do I need to do? Then this will be that conversation, right? Like I need to take my destiny off of Amazon to some extent, diversify my portfolio, and go down this path. So let's talk about that first part on how you initially got to that 10,000, and then let's talk later about like how are you going to go from 10 to 50, because that's a cool journey.
Well, I mean, I think what you described there is exactly us, right? The person who's the 7-figure seller on Amazon, but I'm a big fan of the book Who Moved My Cheese, and if you haven't heard of that, I
have not heard of that.
To read it, it's basically it's almost like a kid's book. It reads like that, but it's for adults. I got handed it 20 years ago as a manager at a company. And it's basically about like, don't just be complacent and adopt change, and be early to adopt change. And it's basically about two different mice. One like goes back to the same block of cheese every day. One goes back to that block of cheese to eat today, but goes and looks for another block for the future. And that's where we're at, right? I mean, we're a successful 7-figure seller. We've been doing well, but I also see the headwind and the pressure there. And so I think, the best time to start is today. The second best time is tomorrow, kind of thing. To start building.
That sounds like Amazon passive income to me. Sounds like it's very easy.
The selling on Amazon right now, or the content part?
So the journey that you're on, right, where you're describing like the hard work that goes in behind the scenes to don't be complacent, don't stick with that cheese. So one of my sticks that I throw in there whenever I can is, a lot of people, the ninja tutorials out there on YouTube or whatever, talk about how like, hey, just follow my, pay me money and follow this plan, and you'll be a millionaire on Amazon.
And it's my magic easy. Pixie dust.
Yeah. And so we have a more realism tone that we take on the pod, where we talk real grit. Like, this is hard work. So here's actually how you go do the hard work. So let's 100%. Talk about that. Like, how did you get those first 10,000 subscribers? Like, what did it take to do that?
Yeah. I mean, so you just got to get started. Writing content is step one. That's like the hardest part, is like to get going. The second hardest part is to keep going, because you're going to write 5-10 articles that you put like all this time, effort, and energy into, and like no one's reading them because it doesn't rank yet, and so you got to start really kind of getting over that hump. And we have a specific strategy that I'd love to talk about, which isn't new to anything on the internet, because we've been doing this for a long time. But we use a tool called Ahrefs, ahrefs.com. There's also SEM Rush. There's Moz. They all basically do the same thing. And so what we've done is like, we'll go out and do keyword research and try to find things that have a keyword difficulty of 10 or less. I use like a sports analogy of like an MMA fighter or something. You're not going to go fight your first fight in the UFC. You're going to go fight in some minor league thing, or train in a gym, or do some like local exhibition thing amongst someone else. And if you do well, you're gonna go up to the next level. And it's the same thing in SEO and content writing. You're not going to rank for tactical flashlight or some hero term that gets hundreds of thousands of searches a month and compete against like Cabela's and Dick's or something on day one. And so we go after easier terms. We'll go after longer tail things like like how to build a homemade mosquito trap, for instance. One of the articles we just put up there that had like a keyword difficulty of like 15. We immediately rank for it because now we have a footprint that can do that, and we slowly level up with our content. So the key is to stay in your lane, not overshoot, write content that's going to get you traction, start to get some love from Google, start to get some backlinks as well, start to get some fans and things like that. And then we've been slowly but surely ranking for harder and harder terms. Like right now we're on the first page for survival food, for instance, which is a really big term. We were ranking actually like number 2 for it, but we dropped a little bit. But we're starting to be able to bat into the major leagues, and I think that's the big key. And we've also had a long-term plan. This has been a 2-year thing in the making. It is not a 2-minute thing or the magic pixie dust that you're kind of talking about where
Right.
it's super easy. We put the hard work into it.
I really like your description of the, kind of the fighter league, right? Because a lot of times entrepreneurs make the mistake of saying, hey, I'm going to go to bat and go cage fight this thing right now, right this second. So that's a pretty good word of wisdom you dropped there in reference to take it slow, go after those long tail keywords first. Makes a difference. And by the way, I've been using these SEO tools for, my entire e-commerce career. And, I've hired Conductor Searchlight at like 3 major corporations. And it's interesting that the tool power that we've seen on these enterprise level tools is now like super cheap. Like the tech has gone so far, it's like commoditized now. And then compare that to like what you pay for like a Helium 10 tool for Amazon. It's just, wow, it's incredible. Like I used to pay, $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000 a month for the kind of software and information we can now get for like $100 a month. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the data is like so helpful because it gets you going in the right direction. Ahead of time, if I write this article, I'm probably going to rank because, they have that data.
So if we're talking about this, the content deb, I think everybody gets that content's king, right? Like that's obvious without saying. Now, once you build the content and you start to get some ranking, what's the next step? How do you engage that consumer further?
Yeah. So now we've, the first part, like I said, we just put up a basic default template WordPress site, just start writing the content. And then we were just kind of writing, this is the one thing I think we made a mistake on that we corrected. We were writing about kind of like anything to do with tactical. We didn't really know where we wanted to go with it. Over the first 6 to 9 months, we kind of revisited that and we looked at what's actually getting some traction here. And what was really working was any of the prepping survivalism stuff. And so what we decided to do was to kind of hit the reset button a little bit and focus on nothing but that. And so now, and this is an important point because Google won't let you rank for like everything under the moon. And so you got to kind of pick a lane, and we picked the survival prepping niche. And so we broke up our site into a couple different buckets. We have prepping, survivalism, and like a do-it-yourself category. And each one of those has a specific lead magnet. And so when you're on any one of those pages, you'll be presented with a lead magnet that is tailored to that particular topic. And we're getting 1.5–2% of our traffic, which is actually quite high, converting onto our email list and now downloading that free PDF for whatever's in that category. And we continue to market to them after the fact. And so that's been building our footprint and our list and our fan bases. Our ultimate goal is to kind of have a community of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. It's just, you got to start somewhere. And so that's the step that we're at right now.
By the way, that prepper community, I think, is still very undertapped, and that's why your content's resonating.
100%.
And I'm speaking from personal experience. So 4 or 5 years ago, I used to work for a company called Atmix.com. They're the American Precious Metals Exchange. They sell gold and silver coins.
I buy from them all the time, actually.
That's awesome. So I used to be the guy that was in charge of their SEO and acquisitions. And so I increased their traffic by 10 million uniques year over year, doing exactly what you just referenced. And so you're like, yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. Yeah, we did the exact same thing, right? So like we went out and we found that there were search velocities around the prepper community, and it's still under tap today. Like people don't necessarily want to associate with it, but man, there is high demand there. I think you found a really good niche. The other thing we found was that there were certain search terms around pricing. So people were checking spot prices like silver spot price or gold spot price. And, there's a lot of companies out there that sell precious metals, everything from Kitco and JM Bullion and SBD Bullion and Atmix. And Atmix has kind of been the, a little bit more longer. They're more of the premium brand, if you will. And so when we focused on price terms, the traffic just went through the roof. yeah, enough about that back history. But I had to.
I love the back history. Like I'm like sucked into this conversation. That's a cool job, man. Like that. I don't know. I've been a fan of APMEX for a long time, and that's a freaking awesome job that you had, and I definitely love hearing about it.
I very much appreciated it, and it was a good time, and I got poached to go work in the lighting world very quickly from those results. But all right, so you are onto something. I'm confident when we have a conversation a year from now, you're going to be well over that 50,000 and subscribers. And so there's, for those that are listening, no matter what niche you're working in, I guarantee you there's going to be an undertapped community of some kind, right? So maybe you don't sell anything even remotely close to the tactical conversation that Michael and I are having right now, but there's going to be something that somebody's not talking about that people are researching and want to know about. Yeah. So you just got to go out and find it. All right. So you built the content and you started to engage. How do you think you're going to get to that 50,000 mark? Like, what are you doing this year? Or is it kind of a continuation of just write more content?
It's definitely a continuation to write more content at this point, because this year was the year that we made those buckets and we made those lead magnets, which was a lot of work. And we're working on building out our email flows that keep people engaged. So it's not a matter of just getting people on the list now, but keeping them on the list and keeping them engaged, that we're working on. And so, our goal over this next year is to produce more content. We have a goal of doubling the amount of content we're putting out over the next year. Obviously making sure we're going to optimize, we're going to spend time doing kind of conversion rate optimization of our lead magnets and of our pages. So we're going to look at, can we go from 1.2 to 1.3% conversion rate, for instance, which I know over the course of a year and 1 million visitors or whatever it is, that's
a big deal.
It's a big deal, right? This is where 0.1% matter. And this is the time for us to do it. This would have been a waste to do 18 months ago, because we were getting 10 people a day coming. And so we were focusing our time, I think, on the right things. You want to, you got to be doing that. Now, there's one more thing that I want to talk about here, because I know we're starting to get a little short on time, that really pulls this whole concept together. Because yes, it's great to get traffic and it's great to get people on your email list. And there is that's an asset that has value to you. The traffic you can use, average, like Mediavine type ads or something and earn income just based on the pure traffic. An email list has value. You can put ads in that. You can send an email out about your new product. But this whole concept comes to me, and where it started when I was, trying to figure out how this is going to pull into my Amazon business, is like 95% of our content is like, you should have gold in your house, or silver, in case of a pandemic, or the poop hits the fan. They call it S.
There is a website that has that acronym, and that website, I actually just looked it up while we were on the pod, and it's actually for sale right now, which surprised me because it used to be a huge website.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
they want $90,000 for it though.
Oh, I might go buy that actually. That might be never happened for me on a podcast about that. I might go look at that, but I didn't want to spell it out or say it out because I don't know if curse words are appropriate on here, but
SHTF.com is the acronym.
Yeah, you can figure that out.
Yeah.
When the poop hits the fan, there you go. We can say it that way. And so like all that content's great, and getting people to our site is great, but how does that tie in to selling Amazon? And so what we are doing is a part of our content strategy is to have about 5%, maybe even 3%, a very small amount, it doesn't matter, very small of our content is gear reviews. So it's like, what is the best tactical flashlight? What are the best tactical gloves? What's the best tactical shovel? What's the best fire starter? Whatever it might be, right? And so we put these articles in there because we don't want Google to peg us as an affiliate site, as a review site, because that can be detrimental to your long-term SEO strategy. And also it makes it more difficult to get some trusted backlinks. When people see that you're just kind of an affiliate kind of site, it makes it difficult. And so what we do is we think, hey, I might want to develop a fire starter someday as a part of one of the things that we sell. This is a very tough product to sell on Amazon. It's a commodity product.
Yeah.
There's thousands of people selling it, low price. Like, how the hell am I going to break into this market? Well, one way to do that would be to rank number one on Google for best ferro rod. I think right now we're on the first page somewhere. We're working towards trying to get to number one. And then launching your own fire starter. And so what we are doing is we're purchasing 10 or so fire starters that are out on the market in this instance. and we actually buy them, right? Instead of being the content site that just like goes to Amazon and like steals their pictures and like spends 10 minutes writing a review comp, we actually buy the products. We send them to our team. They use them. They take pictures. They take video of all of it. They learn everything they can about the products to write a legitimately really good review article. This content's hard. It takes a lot of work, but very people are doing it. So when you do it, it's actually really easy to rank for it because most of the stuff out is crap. Now, on top of that, we have all this data about our future competitors. We actually know what's good and bad about these products.
I was going to say, this sounds like two birds, one stone. You're doing your sourcing homework
Absolutely.
and your content gen all at the same time.
100%. You're dead on it. And then, you know, these all have affiliate links, right? So like we put a legitimate review article together, and now we know, okay, we see it ranking on Google. We see the traffic going through our affiliate links to Amazon. We know how many sales are happening on Amazon. Well, if we're selling, let's just say 100 units a month of our future competitors' products through these links on Amazon, well, we know with a pretty good degree of certainty that if we put our product up there, that it will produce similar results. And this external traffic is incredibly valuable because like Google, Amazon, I believe from our research, really favors this traffic because these types of platforms, Amazon, Google, et cetera, are looking for ways that they can display the right products, the right information, the right searches that cannot be gamed by all of us marketers that like to play the game of how can I jump in front. And so one of the things that's really difficult is to have external traffic sources pointing at your listing from a bunch of different places that actually convert. And so when you see that happening, if you're Amazon, it's like, wait, there's all this outside traffic that is coming from the off Amazon platform that are coming to us and buying this product. It's probably better than the other thing that doesn't have that. You know, if you just look at things in a vacuum, it's not always going to be the case, but it's certainly a ranking factor. And so we've seen this be a big driver. And as a result, like we're ranking for things on Amazon that we would have no business otherwise ranking for. I mean, we have at the time of doing this podcast, like the third best selling tactical glove on Amazon. Like I know there's no way in hell that we would have been able to do that without this specific strategy. And so that kind of brings it all together. In fact, we've had to raise our price 20% just to throttle sales at this point because we can't keep the stuff in stock. That's the problem we're having. Not the other way around.
No,
yeah, we're price gouging, right?
That was
just trying to keep the stuff in stock.
Worst topic of 2020, in my opinion, is when Amazon's like, sellers, you're running out of stock. We don't care. You can't raise your prices. It's like, frick, what do I do?
Yeah, I know.
Penalize me for going out of
stock. But then you won't let me send more of it in. So like, what do you want me to do? Yeah.
Like, what a year. Damned if you don't. Yeah. All right. So as we wrap up, let's make some palatable next steps for people who have never done what you've done. Obviously, you got a sophisticated shop with, you know, a decade of plus affiliate experience and whatnot. So if my palatable first step, would it be go buy a domain?
Yeah.
Go to
you don't have to,
or?
Yeah, you don't have to go crazy. I mean, be careful what you pick, right? I mean, you don't necessarily need to spend tens of thousands of dollars like we did to buy tactical.com. Like that's probably a little extreme, especially for someone getting started, but don't buy like best tactical products -4-u.info. Like that's not good. You want to try to get something that's one or two words, well, not one word, that's going to be too expensive. Let's say two words that make sense, that are spelled correctly. That's a .com, you know, and then you can buy for a couple $1,000. I mean, so for instance, we bought colorit.com, which I think is just a great brand name and domain name that was a product domain name for like $3,000 or $4,000. You know, it's a relatively cheap investment overall in $1 million business to have a brand name and a URL that's easy to remember, easy to type in, easy to spell, that can become a good brand name and not something that people are like, what's your site name again? I can't remember. You know, you don't want to get to that point. So that would be the first step.
All right. So buy the domain and then just start writing content.
Yeah. I mean, I recommend WordPress. I mean, it's been around. I've been using it for 20 years now, whatever the hell it's been. I mean, it's actually more than 20 years. I think we started using it. No, it's been 15 years. Sorry. Started using it in 2005 or 6. I think WordPress is great. I would recommend getting a good host. You want that's like all inclusive, that does backups and caching and those types of things that's fast. You don't want to use one of the $3 a month cheap hosts, in my opinion, because they have 30,000 sites on one server, and it's not very quick, and page speed's important these days. So spend the $25 a month to get a good host. And then just start writing content. Just do it on the default theme. Install the default theme, which is like 2019 or whatever the hell theme that they have on there now, and just start writing content, and worry about the rest later. You can learn about Yoast SEO plugin later, and some of the other stuff later. I would recommend just get the content up there and start writing, and then you can start doing some of the other steps later.
I was just trying to look up who I used for hosting, couldn't find it fast enough. All right, so
sorry, I was trying to give you time there. I was stalling for you.
So all that's really palatable. So if you got 5 minutes today, listening into our podcast today, guys, go and find a domain name that you can buy, and maybe it's it could be the brand name that you've purchased and you've got your trademark for. You could even just do a sub part of your website. Right now, I do recommend Shopify for ecom sales, but you can go WooCommerce through WordPress, and I do agree that WordPress is a better content production site by a long shot. But I do have a strong preference for Shopify on the ecom sales.
100% agree with you with that. Like I don't think that WooCommerce should really even be a consideration personally. We're talking about just the content piece right now. And I do agree with you. We have actually put the content on the Shopify store in the case of Ice Wraps and Color It. But in the case of Tactical, it's a standalone WordPress site. And then we have a standalone e-commerce store that kind of runs in parallel with it under a different brand name. We chose to kind of break it out that way. And so this is kind of a very long conversation that we can get into the weeds on, but I just wanted to reiterate just from two people, when two people say it, maybe they're not so crazy, that WordPress, if you're going to be doing exclusive content, please don't consider anything else for your e-commerce than Shopify. They're the leader. They're going to continue to be the leader. And at some point you're going to regret being on something else.
That resonates with me. It's also really easy to work with Shopify at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, last SEO question for you today. So external link building, and is that strategy still valid in 2020 going into 2021?
100%. Like, I mean, one of my favorite websites is Backlinko. Brian Dean, was lucky enough to have him on the podcast last year. He put out a survey, like talking about like how at the end of the day, like it's still all about links. Like, there's still lots of other factors. Now, what we've done, because I have been penalized from Google, again, don't forget, I've been doing this since 2005. I lived through Panda and Penguin and all that.
All those furry animals. What about hummingbird?
All the furry animals. And boy, did the furry animals really hurt me. Like, I mean, it's, again, another topic for another day, but they were like $1 million mistakes. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it really hurt. And I have learned my lesson, and we don't do that stuff anymore. And so up until this point, we have not done any active link building for Tactical. We've been very slow with it because of this, but we are in the process of hiring a full-time link builder. And so our big thing 21, now that we have some traction and we can safely build some quality links without me having to like lose sleep at night, we are definitely on that train. Now, we've gotten links organically already because, again, we're putting out what I perceive to be top 1% content in this space. Like, I mean, we work really hard at rating really, really good content. And so really, really good content will naturally get links on its own. But that really isn't enough. Like, you need to kind of to spur that on a little bit. And so we're going to use some strategies that are very safe to do that. One example will be, there's lots of sites out there that have linked to content in the past, and that content's now gone, and they're linking to a 404 page. And you can write the webmaster and say, hey, you wrote an article about how to build a do-it-yourself mosquito trap, but it's now linking to a 404 page. We've written an article about that if you want to link to it, but if not, I just want to let you know you have a broken link. That's a great way to get links, for instance. It's not spammy.
And by the way, I think Ahrefs and some of the other SEO tools actually has a tool to do exactly what you just described, to go find those broken links. So, all right. So if people want to get in touch with you and the Ecom crew, where can they go, Michael?
Yeah, we got lucky. Everything's Ecom Crew. So it's ecomcrew.com. It's Ecom Crew on iTunes if you want to listen to the podcast. It's Ecom Crew on all the social media handles. If you want to email me, it's support@ecomcrew.com. That'll get to me. But yeah, everything is Ecom Crew. We have tons of blog content, free courses, the podcast. talk about this stuff all the time. And you're going to be on the Ecom Crew podcast in a couple of months.
I look forward to it.
Yes,
maybe I'll be episode 350. You guys have a lot of content.
We've already done 350, but okay. Maybe we can have you on as like 400 or some like milestone episode. But I want to get you on. I love this topic. I'm that important. Oh no. I tell you, man, like the topic we were just shooting around for just a minute is an important topic, and I'd love to have you come do it. Whatever episode number it ends up being, we'll get you to come do that.
Well, thank you for that what's the word? I don't even know. Pre-invite. There we go.
Pre-invite. Yeah. It's an invite. It's pre-recording. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, Michael, it was a pleasure talking with you today. Obviously, you've got a lot of expertise on external traffic, and and the angle that we took today is not one I would have predicted. And also, I don't think anybody haven't heard anybody else talk about it. So, what a great concept to go build some earned media external traffic going into Amazon, not just some paid external traffic. So, thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Absolutely, it was a blast. Thanks for having me.
This was the My Amazon Guy podcast with Stephen Pope. Each episode helps you grow your sales on Amazon through ideas on traffic and conversion rate improvements. Hit that subscribe button right now to tune in each week. And if you need more help, go to myamazonguy.com.